Hi guys, Alicia with Working Dog Radio, Torchlight K9, and Oil Capital K9 Fund. Thank you guys for tuning in to another awesome episode. Please check us out on YouTube. It's a new format for us. We'd love to have you as a subscriber. We're going to start doing some training videos and some other cool stuff on there. So we would really appreciate your follow on there. We'd like to take a second to thank our amazing sponsors. Without them, none of this would be possible. So guys, please check out Kinetic Dog Food, 513 615 6904. They are amazing. Horizon Structures, everything mild to wild in a dog kennel. They have it. They will drop it off at your door. Give them a call at 888 447 4337. If you guys haven't checked out Highland Canine Training yet, what are you waiting for? Jason and Aaron are amazing. They've got all kinds of courses, classes, and schools going on. Please check out Highland Canine Training at Tactical Police, the letter K, the number 9, training.com. Ray Allen Manufacturing, right there in Colorado. Everything is sewn there. They are amazing. They do so many collaborations with so many of the actual working canine guys in our industry, including me. Give them a shout. Check them out at rayallen.com and use the discount code WDR10RAY for 10% all things Ray Allen. Dogtra.com. If you have an e-collar, if you use an e-collar, if you have a working dog or a pet dog, check out Dogtra. They've got all of the products that you need. You can go to dogtra.com and use discount code WDR10 for 10% off a single item over $200. Enjoy the episode. We'll be back. Thanks.
All right, we are back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. I am Ted Summers from Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's wintertime. It's definitely winter now. Recording this right in the middle of January, and the rest of the country is frozen, including where Eric's at. Up in Canton, Ohio. With me, as always, is Eric Stambro in Canton. You got any more snow?
Yeah, it's been pretty much all day today. Last night, it's just the last few days. Again, the thing about it is, and it's different from when I was a kid in Ohio now. We'll get hit like this for maybe a week or two, and then it breaks, and then you're welcoming the 30s, right? And then it breaks, and then it'll get cold for a few days, and it breaks. It never really stays anymore 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah, so I'm at the fun house. I had a K9 unit here today. Their SWAT team is upstairs right now doing. They've been here since 1:30. They're doing.
They throwing 9-bangers. We're gonna hear it in the background.
Yeah, maybe they're doing. They're doing night vision today, which is nice. Like here because there's no windows in this building, so it's dark.
Did you show them the grave?
Yeah, I did actually. They're like, "What the hell?" So then I had somebody.
That is exactly the correct response when you see that. It's a basement. For those listening, if you haven't heard, Eric has this giant basement in this building, and there is a legit tombstone, like with some lady's name. What's her name?
I can't remember.
It starts with an E, but like dead. And there's flowers.
She's from 1857.
Yeah, there's a tombstone in the basement, like just sitting in the middle of the floor, like up, like there's a grave there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back upstairs. Yeah. Forget this.
One of the guys from Tennessee that was coming up here a lot, getting dogs for me when I'm selling them. He's like, "Where's my phone? I think I left it in the basement." He goes, "Looks like I got to get a new phone, boys." I'm like,
100%.
So yeah, they've been here and having fun, moving along. Just doing a little bit of pet stuff, scheduling. I announced the other day that I'm opening up times and scheduling for 2025 for the E-Collar Without Conflict seminar. That'll be, I think I booked 2 of them after I put that out yesterday. So getting moving on that. I put the details up there on my Van S K9 Instagram page and Facebook. So if you're interested in that stuff, don't go to my website. My website was made with 2 sticks and a piece of wood and chalk. Me and my wife built it like in a hurry, and I just have never really done anything with it. I need to do it so I can put dates up there. But yeah, so I go to Florida for a little 4 or 5 day quick vacation trip next week, and then out to California to teach, and then down to Florida again for a little Ridgeside Canine thing, and then start teaching those things. I think I'm going to do a handler school in February and March for an agency that called me. They have a dog handler left, so they got it. And I know the dog; he's a nice dog. They have an experienced dog, green handler, so I'll bang that out.
Those aren't bad, especially if you train the dog or you know the dog.
I didn't, but I know the dog. He's trained at some maintenance trainings. He's a nice little dog. So
yeah, I got. Well, we were supposed to pick up dogs on Friday, but Texas is supposed to get hammered. For about 80 miles of the route down to pick the dogs up. I have a bunch of, I think I have 10 coming in, and I've already got 6 here. So I have a handler school in the mid-March. It's going to be like 20 handlers. It's going to suck. So it's going to be rough. But once they get here, it's going to be flat out training for about 75 days every day, over and over and over again. Thankfully, it's all narcotics dogs in this class, so I ain't too worried about it.
Oh shit, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, my last class of last year was all single, and now this is going to be all dual purpose, and they're all hitters too. So yeah, March is going to be interesting. Thankfully, we'll be out of cold. I had a beginning of 2024 last year. I had a handler school in January, and it was absolutely miserable. I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not doing that.
Those are terrible. Yeah, it's hard to get tracking in, man. It's hard to get a lot of stuff in.
It sucks. It's hard to run cars standing on the highway, especially. Well, that class is big too. We run our scenario stuff towards the end of class. We just do traffic stops on the turnpike, and inevitably have like troopers pull over. Like, what are you guys doing? So, and 20 police cars sitting there with their lights on, and they're like, guys. So. I leave Sunday to go to North Carolina, Rock Hill, for an HRD. So first one of the year, and I've got some more. I got one in February. We're going to Canada. We're going to Edmonton in March. So that'll be interesting. It'll be cold because it's Edmonton, Alberta in March. But it's inside. I ain't messing around with that. So yeah, other than that, I'm just training.
Book sales are going on here too, man. Yeah. The book sales are doing good, and I just signed a copy for a handler today. I keep about 10 with me here. Other guys have gotten them. So if you have bought my book and you're going to go to Hold the Line, bring it with you, and I'll sign it for you.
And Hold the Line. When that's in
April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I think, something like that.
Okay, so I was just going to say it's right at the end of March, beginning of April, and I was going to look it up while we're on
in Myrtle Beach, yeah. So
Myrtle Beach.
I talked to Joe, and I told him, I said, Myrtle was a good move, man. Pittsburgh was cool. The hotel was cool. The parking started to get Nazi style, and I was like, nah.
That was crazy, watching cops from the South fight with Philly cops, or fight with Pittsburgh cops about parking.
Yeah, and their jack boots and shit.
Dude, that was insane. They had tow trucks out there. They're going to tow cruisers with dogs in them.
Yeah, that guy was a jerk.
That was I was like, oh man. They look at me and I'm like, what do you want me to do about it? I'm like, I don't live here. I don't work. I don't do nothing. I don't know anybody.
I walk by the dude. I go, you don't get it. You are in a police work for the wrong thing if this is what you're doing. But anyways, I also had some bad news today. Some of you have seen him on my social media. I have a greyhound named Mac. He's 14. He's got one ear that lays straight sideways. It looks like a little sombrero. He's gonna go to the end of his life on Friday at 4:45. Had to make the call today. The last several days have not been good. He can't barely stand up, and I'm never gonna deal with that. I mean, that's not fair to him. So we have to make that decision. As of it's 5:50 currently p.m. on the Eastern Standard Time, and I haven't told my daughter yet. She's gonna find out tonight after she's working at the kennels. When she gets home tonight, she's gonna tell her. So the last dog of ours, pet dog, we had to put down. I was in Dubai. I didn't even get to go. So at least I'm gonna come along on this one. So old Mac. But anyways, so let's move on. Today is another one of the episodes that we have talked about in our series. If you listen to the last episode with Josh about the stock dogs, I hope you really liked that. That was awesome.
Saw the skull hanging over his head.
Yeah, dude. I'll be honest with you. I think it was one of my
crazy story.
It was one of my favorite episodes in a long time because we legitimately didn't know anything about what he was talking about. So our questions are like legitimate. Like I think I asked him if cows can smell dogs. I don't know. I don't know shit about that stuff, man. So, but anyways, moving on. And what we're doing again in this series is people that you don't know in this business and you probably should, or maybe some people on some side of the country know and then other people don't, or certain circles don't. So we're doing another episode. Our buddy Larry McCardle. Larry, how are you, buddy?
What's up, brother? How are you, bro? And
Good.
sorry to hear about the dog on Friday,
Yeah.
brother, man. Sad,
Thanks.
man.
Yeah, it's always sad. It sucks. You know, we've had a lot of dogs in my house and that stuff happens, but then I always go with friends and family and people that need support, and the canine guys, if their dog's on the, at the end of their life, I always try to go if they'll let me know. But so Larry works for the New York Department of Corrections. You'll hear that accent and you'll know exactly that part.
Absolutely.
Larry's been friends with Ted and I for a while now. He's one of these guys that is his friends. Once you're friends with Larry and he supports you and respects you, he's there for everybody all the time. One of them guys that travels training after training, class after training. He's been through my class a couple times. We'll talk about that stuff towards the end here. And but so those of us here on this side of the country know Larry very well, but a lot of you don't. So we wanted to make sure we get you in there. So Larry, thanks for coming on, brother. We love having you on. Give us, your history. Talk about where you're from, your little history of dogs growing up, and then how far you got to today.
Sure, man. Again, thanks, guys, for having me on. As far as my law enforcement background, before I started in law enforcement, I used to work for British Airways at JFK. I grew up in New York. I grew up on Long Island, never moved, been here all my life. Probably going to move eventually, but so after 9/11, unfortunately, I was a part-timer at British Airways. They had laid us off because of the cutbacks. After 9/11, TSA came about. So being that I was working in cargo for British Airways, a couple of months, I'd say about a year after I was laid off, we actually happened to get a call asking us if we wanted to come and be interested in working for TSA doing cargo screening, baggage screening. So I was like, yeah, why not? At the time, I was just working at Geico, customer service, selling, not even really selling insurance, but just doing customer service on the phones. And I was like, yeah, this ain't me. So I went to TSA. I liked it. It was different. Sometimes dealing with passengers. The minimal amount of time that I did deal with passengers, most of the time I was doing baggage and cargo. But when I was dealing with the passengers, they get disgruntled just like anybody else. But I mean, it's in New York, so what else can you expect? But so while I was working for TSA, I had a buddy of mine, Joe. This guy, Joe Giusuli. He worked at corrections. He recently retired. He worked out at the gym with me, and he's like, man, he always came in, big brolic guy, wearing his K9 shirt all the time. So he's like, hey, man, why don't you just take the New York City Department of Corrections test? Take any test, take every test, or whatever calls you first, take it. But Department of Corrections definitely, the money is good, the overtime is good, and it's not a bad career. So I was like, all right, cool. So I took the test, took the NYPD test, took the Nassau County Corrections test. I was like, all right, whatever calls me first, I'm taking it. And I would say approximately about 2006, maybe February, New York City Department of Corrections gave me a call. I did really well on the test. Went through the process. The background check was, it was very thorough, the background check, tickets, your college credits, everything was thorough. So in June 29th of 2006, I started my career at the Department of Corrections, and I'm still there now. For the first 3 or 4 years, I was working in a high classification facility. I really learned how to jail there. I really learned how to deal with inmates, have patience, because I was dealing with the mental health inmates, especially. We had a punitive seg. Back then, we had a punitive seg program where it was just mental health inmates. So I was part of that program, and again, I really learned how to jail at that program. And then 2010. We have an emergency service unit. We call it ESU. For the jail facilities across the country, you might call it CERT, SRT, something like that. They do a Hell Week. I passed the Hell Week. I got into ESU. I mean, the brothers and sisters that I work with there, it was just like a team, man. We were, tight. We would respond to any disturbances. We would take high classification inmates to court. We would do anything, any kind of emergency situation we were dealing with, and it was a full-time basis. We weren't part-time. And then in 2015, I put in the application for K9 and I got called, and I've been there ever since. I'm on my second dog now, a Dutch Shepherd. I kind of went backwards. I kind of went Pointer then Dutchie, where I should have went Dutchie then Pointer. So that's where I stand now.
Yeah, that's like going small dog to 100-pound Shepherd. No,
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. You should go the other way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So let me ask you this: in the mental health side, is it doubled or more now? Like the guys that are in the mental health side, is it doubled in inmates that are doing that have mental issues? You think?
I would say it's about the same. The overall population obviously is down due to bail reform, but the overall, as far as the mental health inmates, I'd say it's about the same. There's just, there's more programs for them now than there was then. I worked in a program house back then, but now there is a little bit more programs. There is more, they do have puppy programs and things like that in the facilities, but the programs are more now, but I say the overall population of mental health inmates is probably about the same.
Yeah. And I asked that because I ran into a guy that I got hired with at the police department. He's still there, and he said he's a sergeant on the shift now, but he said everyone they deal with now is mental health on the street.
Yeah,
of some sort.
Again, there's a lot that's going on in the street. There needs to be more programs for just the regular civilians that are living in the streets that to help these people. The more I definitely think there's more. We need more programs for the homeless, mental health people that are out in the streets. Absolutely.
So the New York City Department of Corrections, how long is that for retirement? Is that 20?
Yeah. So now it's I'm in tier 3. So tier 3 is 20-year retirement. The newer guys, I believe now it's up to 20. I don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. I would say it's around anywhere between 22 and a half to 25 now.
I'm asking these questions because there's probably somebody listening here going, I'm kind of, I don't know where I'm going to go, and I'm on the East Coast or whatever. I might want to be interested in. And the one thing I remember about over there too is I think the pension's really good. Like you can go there and get a nice pension, move out.
Yeah,
I was
to
going to say
Tennessee or someplace or Florida, and then live like a king.
New York's expensive.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely tax our pensions more than a Florida or South Carolina or maybe North Carolina. But yeah, they definitely. But again, the money's here to be made. It's again, everybody could bicker about little minor things, but the overall, I've been blessed in this career. As you know, I'm on my last year now. I'm leaving approximately in December, but I've been blessed for my 20 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. Talk about growing up on Long Island. Was your family dog family?
We were a dog family. When I was about 5, 6, 7, about that 5, 6, 7 years old, I made that first mistake where my grandmother had a shepherd, and I made that mistake of looking that dog in the eye, and I got tagged in the mouth. So that wasn't. Yeah, I put a nice hole in my lip, on my upper lip. But yeah, it was, But we always had dogs. Not really police dogs, but we had a shepherd, a couple of mutts, but. Yeah, I mean, I always loved them. I always loved being around them.
Did you grow up in an up and down, like with the whole family living in 2 floors or 3 floors, anything like that in New York?
So me, my mother, my father, and my sister, we grew up in a small town in Nassau County, Long Island. We lived in the upper apartment. There was an apartment downstairs, and we lived in the upper apartment. Then after that, we bought a house on the other side of Valley Stream, where we grew up, and unfortunately after my father passed away, me and my sister moved out. By that time we were 25 years old, 21 years old, so we moved out, and we just began our careers on our own. I still speak to my mother. She's blessed still living in Long Island with us.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I've been there once, just this year. Where'd I stay? Port Jeff. right?
Port Jeff, yeah.
Yeah,
I think you did some jujitsu out there too, as well, right?
Yeah. Port Jeff is not probably realistic. Long Island, it's like everybody else lives. It's kind of a little port town. It was it was cool, man. It was all right, but I didn't get to experience anything in Long Island except for the drive from the airport, hanging around Port Jeff, Uber into jujitsu, and working. So I got to get over there like in nicer weather and have you give me the real.
Yeah, definitely. There's some definitely good towns on the water that we can grab a couple drinks, have dinner, and night. There's definitely a good a summer vibe out here for sure.
Yeah, Ted, you been in New York City?
Oh yeah.
Where
Oh,
at?
Down like Manhattan. Like,
Downtown.
Yeah,
the actual.
Yeah, where everything is going on. I mean, So
I've never been there. Never been to any of the boroughs except for Long Island for 3 days. And but the people that hosted me were nice. The dogs were good. We had a good time, I thought.
That night I went to Melnick's place to see Will Cry when they were there, and Melnick I think he still has an apartment in Brooklyn, or I don't know where it is. I don't remember where it's at, but yeah. So
I remember there was a ferry that was bringing people to and from Connecticut, and people were going to work. I think it was $70 each way.
I just saw the
twice a day. These people are paying this.
I just saw the news article about, and people are pissed. Larry, you can tell me, but they're charging a toll based on congestion now, and it's like I don't know, it's like $40. And man, I've never seen so many people mad.
So the congestion pricing in New York City, I think if correct, I might be wrong, but I think it's $9, a one-time fee, $9 for the day. But yeah, people are pissed, man.
Wow.
And not only that, but the tolls. The tolls for the bridges and tunnels, they went up as well. So yeah, a lot of people are mad.
Oh yeah, and they're squeezing every freaking drop out of that turnip, man. It's crazy. So let's talk about your first dog. Tell me about that dog.
So Zoe was a rock star. I mean, I couldn't. I like to say she's an old school pointer. We could talk about the new school pointers later on, but I did not get her as a green dog. We had an older gentleman, Tommy, who I still speak to this day. Great guy. He got assigned to K9 Zoe, but she had a different name. It was Riley at the time. But anyway, he retired. He was like, all right, I'm going to retire. He was trying to get the dog, and the department was like, listen, man, this dog doesn't even have 2 years of service. Unfortunately, you can't keep the dog. So once he retired, I was in K9 for a little while without a dog, and then once he retired, I took, I became the handler of K9. I changed the name to K9 Zoe. I did my New York State, detection course, and after that, man, sky was the limit with her. The difference between I was like, I wanted a green dog. I wanted a new dog. I was a new handler. I was hungry. I was like, I don't know. Do I really, they're like, listen, man, you're in K9. Shut up. Take the dog. And trust me, she's a good dog. And I'm like, yeah, I want a good. They're like, listen, man, you're a high paced kid. You're very active. This dog is an active pointer. I'm telling you, you guys are gonna be killing it in there. So sure enough, I went through the course, and I'm like, I was a green handler, so I was making mistakes. Maybe not, just any green handler mistakes. But once we clicked after that first maybe year and a half, we were rocking and rolling.
What did you like best about her?
Just her drive. Very minimal environmental issues. The only thing I could say as far as environmental issues, like if we were doing searches outside, maybe outside lockers or vehicles, and she locked in on a cat, I'd have to come to a conclusion, like, listen, Eric, I'm going to put my dog up. Can you run your dog? My dog's just not locked in. So that was the only issue I could say with that dog. But other than that, she had a great nose, super solid pattern, super solid. Pretty much she could search freely. I didn't even have to get involved, which was great.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I've done a couple of pointers over here. We're going to talk about new school pointers in here. But didn't you raise some? Did you breed some or some shit?
We bred a litter with a dog I actually got from you, the male.
Yeah.
What was his name? He's a bomb dog now in Chicago.
Is he really?
Yeah,
I forget. He was ripped with muscles.
Yeah, he definitely didn't skip chest day. Yeah, super athletic dog. But we bred him to a female that we got from our buddy down in Texas, Kendall, from really nice hunting lines. And I sent the pregnant female up to another friend of ours, Jeremy Van Beek, up in Wisconsin, who was on the show about a year ago in Green Bay. And he kept we had 10 and he kept 5 and I kept 5. I sold one to a hunter and one of my interns, Josh, and he turned him into a hunting dog. And then I sold another one and then I kept 3. And it was Nano, Poppy, and Arrow. And Nano, like the year after, and then we raised them. I raised them like Malinois. I mean, they were nuts. And then after that, like that year, we have a thing in Oklahoma where it's called the A1. It's the interdictors deal. Like for everybody that's a narcotics guy or an investigator, it's part of this association, and they do like a K9 of the Year award, a K9 Team of the Year award. And Larry and Nano won that award the first year they were certified. They were crushing people. And I mean, they caught and they're in a tiny town. Like Larry's the chief of police. He's got like 3 other people to work for him. There's like 4 cops in that town. And but it's a large thoroughfare between Tulsa and Dallas. So they were crushing people and finding just hundreds of pounds of narcotics. And
Sweet.
Yeah, and same thing. We just put 2 pointers on the Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics, 3 actually. And or no, the other one's Maggie's not. She's a golden retriever. But no, that's right, Charlie, Poppy, So and they've been just destroying people all week or all year too. It's been open season.
Nice.
We had and some of the stuff, like in Oklahoma, we have medical marijuana, and it's 300,000 licenses, and to satisfy that, we need about 1.3 million pounds. The amount that was legally grown in Oklahoma that last year was 13.1 million.
Oh, geez.
They didn't throw the rest of it away. Just
no.
For those listening.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah. So it's being trafficked and it's being caught. And so routinely our guys will find 250, 350, 550. We had one guy that caught 800 pounds of finished, like processed. So yeah. So I like pointers. When they're good, man, they are.
Yeah. They are awesome when they're good, man.
Yeah. When they're good, holy cow.
So how long did you work Zoe then?
So I approximately 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been in K9 10 years now. I'm sorry, about 6.5 years.
That's right. That's good.
But we weren't finding pounds and kilos like you're talking about, Ted. But just the amount of fines that because I was at one point I was assigned with the gang intelligence team, the intel team. So we were doing a lot of intel, and we were doing intel searches, and she was just killing it.
Yeah.
So now she retires, and you're a brand new handler all over again because they're giving you a Dutchie now in a dual purpose.
Yeah, right? He is dual purpose. He is patrolling narcotics. I mean, you met him. He's a piece of work. So he's
put in time real quick for you guys. Don't know, Larry's put in time with this dog. Like he's worked with me. He's worked with a lot of other people. They've come so freaking far. And we'll talk about a little bit about what you learned from me and other folks that have brought you along to where you're at too. And then, in the second segment, we're going to talk about training and working inside a correctional facility. But I'd really like to get into it about the dog you have now.
They both came from Southern Coast, believe it or not. So, Bill Heiser was great. When I was down in, I was planning on retiring Zoe. This was 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I was planning on retiring Zoe, and I'm like, listen, I want to experience that patrol dog. Before I retire, I started getting into decoying, and I'm like, I really want to try this patrol dog. So, unfortunately, my buddy Officer Parjan that I work with, unfortunately, one of his dogs had passed away. He had cancer. It was a golden. I don't know. I think you guys were talking about Goldens in one of the last podcasts, but I had 3 Goldens from Southern Coast, and they were rock stars. No environmental issues. They were just killing it. But unfortunately, K9 Simba had passed away, so we were looking to get a new dog. I was down in Valdosta for the USPCA Nationals. They did a combined patrol and narcotic USPCA Nationals, which was pretty interesting. It was a week long, but they really did a great job with it. But I got a call from my supervisor, and they're like, "Hey, Larry, listen, so one of Bill's guys is going to meet you up in Valdosta. He's going to give you a dog. I worked something out with Bill because the other dog had passed away out of contract. So Bill, took care of us. So I took the dog. I didn't really have any, background with it. We packed them up in the Sprinter. We had 5 dogs in the Sprinter, 6 people in it. So we came home.
Yeah, it's like
No, yeah,
driving in a phone booth, man.
yeah. It's one of the, I felt like the ice cream truck. I was just driving home, and we were just packed up in there, and it was interesting because it's weird to say now that on the way home when I wasn't driving, I was sleeping up against his kennel, and he seemed like a sweet little Dutchie. He's a more traditional Dutchie. He doesn't look like a Mal. He's more smaller. He's just great looking dog. But I didn't know the background of it. All I know is he was in a patrol class down in Florida, and he unfortunately failed out. He was a return. So we went into patrol school with him. My trainer Darren, and we got through patrol school. We didn't utilize any kind of e-collar. We just used a little compulsion with the prong collar. But you could tell the prong collar. He was very reactive to the prong collar. So we got through patrol school. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of stress. I really, I really seen like the downside of me, like shit, like. I was so used to narcotics. I was a narcotic instructor. I'm like, this was great. And then all of a sudden I went to this dark side and I'm like, holy shit, this is a whole new world. What am I into? Like my instructor, Darren, who's actually a friend of mine, he's seen me like almost on the verge of tears, like saying like, what the fuck did I do? Like, where am I right now? But we got through it. And my buddy Darren, he said to me, he gave me the greatest advice. He's like, listen, man, I'm going to get you through patrol school, but I know how hungry you are. You're going to fix this when we're done with patrol school. And again, we could talk about, I know you want to talk about the training later on, but man, the communication between me and him now is phenomenal. Yeah, he could still be that quirky, dickhead of a Dutchie, which every Dutchie is, but man, we have this great relationship going on right now.
So yeah, we had to work on some stuff. You and I worked on some stuff together. There was some, I don't know, there was just a lot of refinement that needed done. And again, you could see you got through patrol school and now you got to clean up, and get him ready. So talk about like a couple of the struggles that you've been working through that you fixed. Because right now, I think you guys are in a real good spot.
I'm hard on myself, so yeah, I could say we're in a good spot, but like I could always do better, right?
Yeah.
After patrol school, so when I did get him from Bill, he already had a platinum cap on his tooth, right? So when I went to ATK9 to work on myself the first year I attended ATK9, Sims happened to break his other canine tooth on the decoy. It was stuck in the suit. The decoy was, listen, he was very observant. He saw that the dog broke his tooth. He said, Larry, come choke your dog off, get the dog off. I got the dog off. First thing I did, contact my supervisor. I came home, and we went through the dental process with him. So I know when I went to you, I had just gotten the cap on. Mm-hmm. It was still kind of, his mouth was kind of tender, so we didn't do any bite work with the e-collar. But, I couldn't even get a toy out of his mouth, to be honest with you. And where I'm at now, we use the out-tone stim, but right now it's like out, and knowing he has the e-collar on, he knows he's out and right off the bat. So, but genetically he had bad teeth, but I had, knock on wood, no issues right now with him. So that's where I stand with him now.
I think we were framing up his heel a little bit and a couple other things. Do you compete with him at USPCA?
So I haven't. I felt like I wasn't ready patrol-wise last year. But this year I'm definitely going to compete with him patrol-wise. Last year we did narcotics. I mean, we overall we came in second place overall in the regionals. I didn't actually happen to go to the nationals because I had other training going on. I had a class going on, so I did not go to nationals. But narcotics, he did very well. But patrol, I plan on doing it next year.
Yeah, because I remember when we hooked up in Connecticut at the Dream Ride thing, we were new on the e-collar with him there.
Yeah,
and he was overly sensitive, then undersensitive. He was kind of all over the place with the e-collar. You went back, did some work, and then
I think it was more of a connection issue when we had, I didn't have the butterfly clips on the Garmin. I think it was more of a connection issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, that wasn't the only issue. I mean, tracking wise, he's a beast. Tracking wise, he's great. I had a lot of issues with articles. So when he would go to articles, he'd put the article in his mouth, then he would down. So I reached out to Mike Lilly, and Mike Lilly totally gave me this great way of resetting it. as he goes into order and he gets close to the article, tell him yes and come back to you and get give him a reward coming back to you. And then we slowly got into the down. Where the e-collar helped me out is where he got to the article, I would tap the stem for him to go into that plots, into that down position. After now, I mean, he's downing and staying on it.
That's nice.
All the time. Yeah.
And then we worked together, and you. Well, the thing is, you've listened to me talk. You've seen me talk in person. You've listened to podcasts and about using tone avoidance and everything, which I talk about in my book. It's a big portion of my book. You were able to get everything dialed in on his out. So it's been cool to watch that progression go and see you actually put in the time, because a lot of guys I want to say give up. Some do. I'm sure, Ted, you see the guys that keep coming back and you haven't seen them in a while, and you're like, dude, we fixed this 2 weeks ago.
I had a supervisor who, he's not one of my handlers, but he was an old school handler. He's been in law enforcement for like 30-something years, and he's like an assistant chief at one of our departments. And he told the new handler, he goes, okay, just realize that a year from now, the vendor has nothing to do with it. That's your dog. And I looked at JT. If JT's listening to this, I love you. Super nice dog. He's got a single purpose pointer, Max, that it's a hammer. Dog is insane. And I was like, and JT's not an idiot. So, but I was like, yeah, he's right. So yeah, I see that ever several often. And occasionally like dudes will come back to me, or I'll see them somewhere and they'll do something and I'll be like, that's neat. You're going to do it right next time. And they're like, shit. I'm like, where did you learn that? Like, no, I didn't show you that. And no one that I know showed you that. Like, what are you doing? And it's always humorous to yes.
That's like training up a dog and then you see the guy a month later and he's doing show me. I'm like, who the fuck told you to do show me?
Oh God, I hate that.
What are you doing with that?
Shut the fuck up.
It just becomes such a marker for the dogs. Like on a blind hide, the guy gonna show me, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing there, bro. Like, you
show you his ass, man.
Yeah, exactly. He's gonna sit on order just because you said show me. It's crazy.
He's gonna show you a suppression hearing, is what he's gonna show you. So we're gonna go ahead and take our first commercial break. When we get back, we're gonna talk about training and handling in a large correction environment. A lot of you guys don't know. Some of you have never done, even to help your local sheriff's office, do sniffs in the jail. And some of you have, and like, wow, my dog really had a lot of problems because of the human odor and things like that. And we're going to talk about that. It's a unique experience.
Odor.
Yeah, that not a lot of people really get inside the police world. So stick around, check out the show notes if you missed the discount codes and the commercials. And again, thanks for supporting the folks that follow us. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, it's me again, back with some more awesome sponsors. I want to talk a little bit about Ray Allen Canine Manufacturing. Who else in our industry allows us to come to them with ideas as handlers, as dog professionals, and say, you know what, I think I would like to make this, or wouldn't this be a good idea? And they will actually sit down with you and talk to you about your designs. I've got a collab with them on a muzzle, on a leash and a collar. They're amazing to work with. Their products are top notch. They're made in America, in Colorado, and we love Matt. So give them a holler, check them out on socials at Ray Allen, the letter K, the number 9, or visit them online at rayallen.com and use our discount code WDR10 RAY for 10% off. Guys, have you visited Dogtra lately? If you go to Dogtra, they have their new online portal, and it's really cool, very user-friendly. You don't have to call them and order them anymore. You can go to mydogtra.com, and they have everything there. You can set up an online profile. They keep your orders. They know what you've used. We use everything, their ball droppers and poppers. We use their e-collars, their 1900S hands-free for our officers, their Q and their 280 for our pet clients. We use all of their products all the time. Eric travels around and does seminars specific to Dogtra, so you can have him come in and teach a class on how to use it. Check them out, dogtra.com, and follow them on their socials. We love kinetic dog food. Ted has been using the large format. It makes excellent tracking treats. He uses it for teaching article indication. It's these huge nuggets of food that you can lay down, grab, put in your trainer's pouch. The quality is excellent. We love Debbie and Dave. We have a great relationship with them. They want to know you. They will talk to you about nutrition, about what your dog's needs are. They'll help get you set up. Their food is available everywhere. We've gotten it off of Chewy. You can buy it at stores. Like, please check them out. KineticDogFood.com. Your dog needs these nutrients, and they are really specific to our industry's needs. They have a full line of supplements now. Please check them out. We'll have some soon that we can give away. Go check them out. Follow them on their socials at Kinetic Dog Food. They'll really appreciate that.
All right, everybody, we're back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. Myself, Eric Stambro, and Ted Summers, who was just trying not to sneeze. Looks like his head almost exploded.
Almost.
Yeah, like you hold it in, and my eyeballs will pop
I turned
out.
the mic down so I'm not sneezing into the microphone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah.
And our good friend, we all call him Larry Mac, but Larry McCardle from over in New York. If you didn't guess for the first part, if you missed it, you can understand his accent. It's Long Island all the way. So, anyways, Larry's been talking about his dogs. The first one he works Zoe, and then Sims is his current Dutch Shepherd, and two completely unbelievably different dogs, different job sets. But I think one of the things that's happened throughout this time is because you're working with dogs, you've worked with Sims, you have now taken a deep interest in training. And I've seen you train with and training a lot of different people, even from other agencies and things like that. So talk about the unique experience that it is when it comes to corrections, training, and handling.
I'll break it down to you. So me and a couple of the new trainers, my buddy Rob, myself, and a couple of guys. So what we do is the first couple of days of narcotic school, we do what we call as bonding walks, and we take the dogs right into the correctional facility right away. If anybody's ever been in the correctional facility, especially high classification facilities, there's noise, there's odor, there's inmates banging on doors. There's a whole lot of what I would call environmentals that might make or break the dog. So those first couple of days we kind of read it to see if can this dog make it, or do we have to swap him out and not wash him out. He might work in the road, but in the correctional facility he might not make it. Again, we have to have super passive dogs that could search inmates. They could search people, visitors coming in, mail, cells without being aggressive towards inmates. So a lot of variables when it comes to searching in a correctional facility. We have upper tiers. Can the dogs walk? All our upper tiers, they all have see-through stairs. Can they walk up and down the see-through stairs? Can they be close to the railing, searching the upper tier cells without any issues, without the tail tucking, without getting really low to the ground? So these are the things that I and my buddy Rob we looked for right off the bat. And a couple of the junior trainers, they're coming along. Again, me and Rob are leaving, so the couple of junior trainers been coming out with us, and they've been doing an excellent job as being eyes as we work these dogs. So, but yeah, those are the again, inmate smell. The inmates have commissary in their cells. Can they adapt to that without trying to get the food? There's so many variables and environmentals that it takes to have a solid correctional narcotic dog or a cell phone dog, which we do have cell phone dogs.
Is it one thing you can point to that's the worst? Is it the noise, or this? What do you think it is?
I would say it's more the noise, the slamming of the doors, the inmates banging on the cell doors, the screaming, the overwhelming sound. Because when the search is in progress, yeah, it might be quiet, but when you make that first entry into the house and you're about to do a shakedown or a search of the housing area, it could get loud. The dogs might just tuck their tail and look for that exit. So I would say more of a noise issue than anything else.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. It's probably nonstop freaking noise.
I mean, you look at the pointers, right, or the labs, or the terriers, or the Goldens that we search. Then but the patrol guys, yeah, those dogs might want to turn up after that. So there's there's two different worlds. You got to watch.
Yeah.
It's
So
always
we,
interesting when so you have a dual purpose dog. One of my local sheriff's departments, they were doing some maintenance on the jail. They had a plumber in, and an entire pod was emptied out. And so my handlers at that department were like, "Hey, do you guys want to do maintenance training in the facility?" I'm like, "Sure." So we we had, and you're walking dual purpose patrol dogs in and out of this place, and dudes screaming and everything else. And what do decoys do, especially when dogs are green? And every vendor like that sends me videos from Europe, right? Like, and you see the videos, right? And everyone that's decoyed or ever anybody handled a patrol dog, and the decoys are always screaming and whatever else. So these patrol dogs are just like, yo, this is what we're gonna do today. And watching them try it, because and we didn't really have anybody in the pod, but we had odor out, and the dogs are like, hey. They were constantly trying to go back to the other door, not because of the noise or anything else. They wanted to go and fight with inmates. So when we got to the bite work portion, we did a bunch of muzzle work, and like in some of the hallways in between the pods, and a lot of the inmates stand there watching, and they're like, "Yo, do those dogs work here?" And they're like, "They can," which, regardless of whether they can or can't, is outside the scope of this conversation. But it definitely highlighted. It got pretty quiet. It got pretty quiet when one of the patrol dogs was smashing the decoy in a muzzle like down this hallway, and and all the inmates standing there watching. They're like, "You know what? Well, I all of a sudden come back and they're in there playing checkers." I'm like, oh, everybody got quiet, huh? Yeah, go figure.
how many times, because you guys have, I don't know, how many buildings are you responsible for?
So we do search the outer borough courts if they do request us. So you have all the 5 borough courts. We have a female facility. I say we probably have about 5 facilities, including the medical dorms, and then you have the borough courts. But the borough courts, we only go there upon request. But other than that, probably approximately about 5 facilities.
Yeah. How many times are you doing that little introductory walk until you decide, yeah, I think he can make it?
So to be honest with you, we try to, if the dog seems like it after like the first couple days, maybe week, if I feel that dog can continue, we still continue to do our, like, we call it not obedience walk, but like bonding walks every morning. So we might do it in the facility, or we have an outer perimeter of Rikers Island where it's called Perimeter Road, which is along the shoreline. We might, we'll do long walks like that in the morning, and ball toss, just to get that bond together, to get some energy out of these dogs before we start running narcotics.
So when you're doing your imprinting and starting all the green dogs training, do you keep it in a pretty sterile environment and then build up, or you write in kind of noise from the beginning?
No, we'll keep it on a green dog. We'll try to keep it in a nice, quiet environment. I use all types of methods. I think the first time I talked to you on the phone, I was asking you about your box and how you distribute the toy out there. That was the first time I talked to you on the phone, asking you how you get that stare and the dog popping the ball out of the box without using the actual BSD popper.
Right.
But I use cans, boxes, depending on the dog. My Sims was done. I did Sims on Cameron's Odor Pays ways because again I had no out, so I was using food. And he has a great focused sit now, which is great. But again, so I like to keep it in a quiet area for the first maybe the whole imprinting stages. I try to imprint. We do a lot of odors. I think we do about 8 odors now. Because remember, we still are on marijuana.
Yeah, I was going to ask you
because we're doing, me and Ted are doing patrol dogs. We're doing meth, heroin, coke, and some dogs weed, depending on where they're at. What else you got to add in there?
So we do Suboxone. We do fentanyl. We do cocaine, crack cocaine. We still do hash. What else do we do? Meth. We also do heroin. We do, and that's about it. I think I hit it all.
You guys
and I'm sorry, MDMA. So the tobacco we use on our contraband dogs. Our contraband dogs consist of all the digital dust dogs, which is like SD cards, cell phones, thumb drives, and we do tobacco on them as well.
I would think the electronic dogs these days are so important that the electronics is probably one of the biggest threats to a facility.
Yeah, it's definitely a big threat. There's probably not just in our facility. There might be times where we have gone out to the federal bureau prisons and we help them out, and they definitely had some cell phone problems as well. So yeah, it's definitely a security risk if a minimal security risk. I mean, so the problem is there. And again, I'm pretty. We actually just did our USPCA uh, electronic device certifications for our region, and one of my guys actually took first, so which I really proud of him. He came a long way. He did have a pointer who at first we thought had environmental problems, but he's been killing it in the streets.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
yeah, he's been killing it.
I did 2 cell phone dogs over the years. Both of them back when it was just lithium batteries was the odor that you're using. Now that's there's other things that they've done other things, and now I think they've kind of figured it out. I think it's super impressive. How do you guys find hash to use?
DEA old
Yeah.
hash. I don't. I think we're still using our old DEA hash. I don't. I could be wrong. I don't know if they gave us a new batch of hash on the when they recycled out the last batch. But yeah, it's just through DEA stuff. The only stuff we don't have live fentanyl. I mean, we do have some live fentanyl pills, but we do all our imprinting for fentanyl through the Customs and Border Patrol at JFK.
Okay.
So we take they'll take one trainer, or they'll take both me and my buddy Rob, both of us trainers, and we'll take 4 handlers, and we'll go over there and do like a 40-hour course on just fentanyl for the week to get the certification through New York State.
Yeah, that's cool. It's good you have those kind of resources.
When,
I
the
don't know if
question,
I've actually ever seen hash in my life, and I'm old.
yeah, it's just it pretty much looks like brown weed, pretty much,
Yeah, it looks like tobacco. I mean,
Yeah, pretty much.
it kind of smells like weedy tobacco.
For your electronic dogs? What are you guys imprinting with?
I'm using 3 odors. I'm not gonna name them, but one because I can't,
Right.
because I can't say it. But I'm using it's a material they use in the touchscreen. That makes the electronic, like that when you touch it, it's like a white, it's like
Powder.
yeah, kind of, but it's sticky. And then I'm using the fire retardant that's on all of the chips that starts with a T. It's like
TPPO.
Yeah, that one. And then there's a third odor that's in the from my understanding, it's in the like how they make the silicone portion of it. It's like a bonding agent or something, but they only use it in circuit boards and chips and like that kind of stuff. And we did it for a couple of I call them kitty porn dogs, but it's for the FBI guys. And the thing about it is, I mean, I'm not sure you know this, but those thresholds are super small.
Yeah.
So when I buy the odor from Sigma Aldridge, and when I buy it, they're like, "Oh, how much do you want? Like 500 grams?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, I need like 2 micrograms. I mean, like a tiny amount. So I have to buy like this big ass bottle of it, and I'm like, this ought to last me. I can pass this down to whoever buys Torchlight. Here, you can have this too. But it's a combination of the 3. Some of the correctional dogs that we've done, the dudes are allowed to have like Walkmans and shit that have batteries in it.
Yeah.
So like we can't do that. And then there's a couple of other things. We've got a couple of facilities where they're allowed to have tobacco in vape form. Of course, the fucking crackheads figured out that they can import. Now they're having liquid meth come in, and they're taking the things apart and putting liquid meth in the little vape thing. I don't smoke anything or vape.
Right.
So in the little vapey thingies, and they're putting liquid meth in that, and they put some liquid heroin in one, and they found something else that they didn't know what it was. And I'm like, this is so, and that's obviously not in all of our facilities. Some of each individual one in Oklahoma is like run separately, but yeah, so it depends on like literally from like agency to agency and facility to facility. So
yeah, I don't do electronic dogs. Not that I don't want to. I just nobody's asked me to. So I would have to reach out and ask people what odor to do and things like that.
The problem that I run into, and I guess with Larry, it's probably not a problem with you guys because I understand you guys are understaffed like everybody is. I don't know of a full staffed agency in the country, but most departments are like, well, we don't really want that's like dedicated for this. So, and I'm like, well, I mean, I can't put cell phone odor on a dog that's going to go run cars. So I mean, it's usually a budget issue. So the departments that have those are fairly large. Obviously, they're dedicated to correctional facilities.
And those ICAC dogs work. Them dudes
Yes.
put a lot of weirdos in prison or get a lot of guys to kill themselves. So
Yeah.
in Ohio, the corrections guys that I know that have dogs say in Ohio the biggest problem is Suboxone. Is that true with you or no?
When I first got into canine, Suboxone was big. They were, a lot of it was coming through the mail and trifold birthday cards. They would, manipulate the birthday cards. And again, Suboxone it's thin. It's like a Listerine strip. So, they would try to get it through the mail that way. Again, we would break down the mail, search as much, right now we search every piece of mail there is a letter, boxes, anything. We break it down letter by letter and we're searching it. But back then, birthday cards, we were searching just the multiple bags. But, birthday cards, anything they could trifold and glue or like magazines, right? They would glue two pieces of paper together and the Suboxone strips would be in there. So Suboxone was big. We kind of haven't seen much of it lately, right? A lot of it now is the synthetic paper that might come in the mail. Like you said, the liquid stuff that's soaked in paper. That's really big. But our department's been killing it, trying to catch most of that stuff.
So how do you replicate once you're ready, you're done off your imprinting and you're moving on to actual odor. So like hides and stuff. You have like old section of cells that aren't being used. How do you do it?
Yeah, we have a facility that's actually closed right now for Well, I don't know if they're going to actually renovate it, but it's actually an old building. It has that musty jail smell to it. We actually created a housing area where we actually just search in that housing area. It has inmates, old property that never was picked up, mattresses, buckets, food. We have, we'll maybe put out some, dog food. It's pretty replicated pretty well. And again, we have a lot of access. There's a couple of jails that are closed down, so we have access to searching in a scenario of the jail, but you can't replicate the inmates being in the area. It's hard to replicate it. Towards the end of certification, we'll bring them out to a live search, but we're not going to put them in the cells. Obviously, because they're not certified, we're not going to put them inside the cell and conduct searches. We'll have other dogs search. We'll just put them in that area, make sure they're comfortable being in that area.
One of the things that you do that none of us police guys do, and Ted, you may have taught some of these. I've never have is sniffing the human beings.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother beast, man. Talk about that a little bit.
It is another beast because the teaching a dog how to search a human, it's hard. You got to try to have them avoid from jumping on the people. You don't want them jumping on, especially the visitors, especially the inmates. The inmates might get irate. They might be. It's hard. So we try to replicate it as best as possible. We'll put us handlers in human civilian clothes. Maybe we'll start with like a bag. We'll put the narcotics in a bag. And we'll put them on the first person. We'll get that dog on that bag, have him sit, maybe move the person down. We won't, I won't put it on me and then put it on you, Eric, and then put it on Ted. I'm the decoy right off the bat. Mm-hmm. We'll start with a bag and then maybe we'll put it in our cargo pant pocket. In my opinion, it could get complicated because of the jumping, because the dogs are not used to it. It takes time. Again, patience, repetitions, and that's the only way we get through it. But it's not like passenger screening or AKA vapor wake, where the person walks by and then you're walking behind them and trying to get that wake. You're actually having them stationary. You're stationary, hands by your side. The dog's going to come by. Don't make any sudden movements. Don't attempt to touch the dog. So to get a dog used to that, to get a dog to that point, it takes time. It takes repetitions. But a solid dog, we get it to work, and we get it to work effectively.
I would assume that some inmates use that as a way to make problems. Like, I'm afraid of dogs. You can't get that dog near here.
100% they do. Or they're allergic to dogs. Or like, what's that goofball that from South Carolina that sells the schnauzers?
Garcia?
Yeah, that dude, that's his thing. Like, that's why they do the schnauzers, is because they don't shed, and there's allegedly case law on it, which there's not. But that's a thing. And the hardest part for me, like doing the reps, like one is finding the people to do it, but two is like Larry said, is a ton of reps, but also the case law side, teaching it with the admins. And I'm like, look, these people have not been suspected of a crime. You're not investigating anything. So like, it's a conditional search based on location. Like, we can't, like, if they're out in the lobby, you can't go fucking run them. Like, I mean,
Right.
they've got to be through a controlled, accessed area before we can start, because they're like, well, can we station them out there? I'm like, no. They're like, can we have people come out, and can we have patrol guys come out and search cars? I'm like, I mean, there's case law on it that says you can. So that's completely different, though. And they're like, well, can we use an alert on the vehicle if the driver's inside and talking to an inmate? And I'm like, man, you are getting down into some. I was like, let's just say no. Like, because that's the hardest thing, is like, because they have this new toy and they're like, I want to use it. I want to sniff everybody and everything. And what a lot of our guys will do, a lot of the inmate, or like when they go for visitation, they're not allowed to take purses and bags and that kind of stuff in, and they make you take off like super thick, bulky jackets, and that stuff gets locked in a locker. And then, or 4 or 5 of my departments have that. They get locked in a locker, and then they keep the person keeps the key.
And same thing with us.
Yeah, and that room is under 24-hour surveillance with like, 50 cameras everywhere. So, I mean, it gets like it, but that room is inside. So occasionally they'll run a dog through their own lockers. And since Oklahoma is a medical marijuana state, it's like, and and even cigarettes, like, then there's big signs, because I don't know, I'm assuming it's the same way in Ohio and New York, but introduction of contraband into correctional facilities is a felony. And so you get people to come in and have cigarettes and weed in their purse or their backpack, and they're like, well, I have a prescription. You're like, bro, I got news for you. Like, do you not read the big sign outside? Like, it says you can't take this stuff in. So that's where a lot of you have a lot of people that are well-intentioned, that are not intending to break the law, ended up committing like, a 10-year felony. So it depends on a lot of factors. Most of the time, those dogs that we sniff people are after they empty out all their shit. They put all the stuff in the locker. Then it's like when they're in their, like, what I call their final form, when they're going to go in and like make contact with an inmate, that's when they will get searched, right? So at that point, they're like, oh, I forgot about this pack of cigarettes or this huge bundle of weed in my butt cheeks. So like, it gets like,
it's the same thing with us. So they when the visitors come to Rikers Island, they go to a central visit area where, like you said, they put all their stuff, their personal belongings, in a locker. They go through screening, and then they get bused to their facilities where their loved ones or the person that they're going to see is going to, where they're housed at. So we'll search them either at central visits after they put their property away, or we might do it at the facilities. But we're searching them now. We used to search them with their properties, but now we're searching them where they're in the facility. All their personal belongings are out, and it's just them and their card that says where they're going, and that's it. So, but my visit guys been killing it, man. Shout out to them, man. They've been killing it, finding a lot of stuff. So they've been rock stars lately. So shout out to them, man.
So the other avenue of this I want to talk about is the handling of the dogs. We talked about some training, introduction, things like that. You've been around a lot of patrol guys, a lot of USPCA police guys, everything, doing all the handling of detection dogs. You would think is pretty standard, but going from cell to cell to cell to cell and stuff, from the few times that I've done it, is different. Talk about how the adjustments you've had to make and what the difference is in handling in a facility.
So the main thing is lead control. You can't have that loose lead. You gotta, especially for us, when we're searching cells, the inmates are in close proximity. They're observing the cell search, so they're not. You talked about it before, Ted, where you guys searched the housing area where the inmates were out of the pod. For us, majority of our searches are with the inmates. They're pretty much observing the search. So you're going to have inmates around. You got to be careful with your leash control. I like to when I go into a cell, especially with my new guy Sims. I'm in the cell. I'm searching the cell. I'm in there for maybe 15 seconds the most. Dog out. I'm coming out. Every cell I'm saying dog out, come out, just so that staff knows. You majority of the times when we're searching cells, we have a hands person, an observer. So they'll clear the way for us, make sure we're clear. I say dog out, they say clear, and I go on to the next cell. So I see leash controls by far, and knowing your surroundings is by far the most important thing as a handler when you're searching in a housing area with inmates around. By far.
Funny thing is, I was doing this today with the guys from the agency that were here. I had a whole bunch of rooms in a row, and I only had one hide. I think it was 6 rooms, and I had them working fast because we just need the head snap. And for you guys working real fast like that, I would imagine it's you really telling new guys, listen, watch the head snap, the change behavior, because other guys are waiting for the sit, but you don't have time for that. You got to watch. You got to go.
So 100% right. So, and I'm not just talking about my department, training with people from other departments as well. Newer handlers, I joke with them. I time them. I'm like, dudes, like you guys are in the cell for like a minute 30. Like, what's going on? Like, you're searching 50 cells. You need as much energy and from that dog to get the effective search. You don't want to wear them out on the first 15 cells by searching a minute and a half each cell. So I get all my guys, and I'm tough with them as far as like, why are you spending so much time in that cell? Like, I want that dog to be efficient in all 50 cells. So usually on the top tier, because of egress issues and having inmates around, we try not to have the inmates all in front of maybe we'll put them on the opposite side of the tier. So if there is an issue with an inmate, we have means of egress to get that dog out of there, because it's a floppy dog here. We're not really probably going to be up there with a patrol dog, so the inmates will be on the other side. But again, I find handlers spend a lot of time inside the cells. Newer handlers, seasoned guys, in and out. They know, they look at, like you said, looking for that head snap. If the tail's wagging faster, you see that clear indication where any change of behavior to that targeted scent, and that dog is working it, and there's you give a secondary look on it. We'll let the search officer know. Yeah, listen, alert in this cell and keep it moving.
It's always interesting when I talk to canine handlers that work the real like road guys, and I'm like, you need to do like once or twice a week. You need to go into your local if there's sheriff's department, go into your facility, or go into, if there's city, like go into the county and work for a day, like one of your training days. And they're like, it's a cell, they can't go anywhere, like how hard is it? And I was like, you would be shocked. Like, you will see some changes of behavior in dogs that you're like, what in the hell are you doing? And I'm like, I get it. Like, a cell is about the size of a car. I get it. Right. And because, we're working cars on the outside, we have all these other things that we're dealing with. Like, now we can't touch the car. The dogs aren't touching cars. And, there's only certain areas where stuff can leave, where odor can leave a vehicle. And then we've got environmental conditions, we've got all the other things. And you will see dogs do just the most wacky shit. And handlers are like, what? And why is he doing that? I'm like, you have no wind, you have this, there's all this other shit going on, and you have a ton of novel odors, and it makes them good handlers. And then,
100%.
New guys, when I get access to those, one of my handlers, in fact, he's texting me right now. There's a correctional facility just south of the next county, just south of here, and we get in there several times a year to train with the road guys, and they all say the same thing. They're like, holy shit, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And I'm like, well, yeah. They're like, well, I thought it was going to be like searching a closet. I'm like, no. It would be if you lived in one, but no, it's not. It is not the same. And I will give it to some of the inmates, man. They are some clever dudes. Where they and how they hide shit. I've seen and been part of some of those searches. I'm like, how did you even figure this out? And he's like, oh, I'm in here 23 hours a day. I'm like, oh, that checks out. Okay. I mean, that makes sense.
I'll tell you this, when we used to go to the county jail and help out, and do sniffs, I actually, when I took over as trainer, put a stop to it, because we would have 5,000 alerts in there. This is what guys don't understand. And there's not 5,000 guys with dope in their cells.
No.
The overwhelming human odor, if your dogs are not used to it, not exposed to it, will cause them to false alert over and over and over. My dog, I think my first dog, Gina, I went through, she hit on every single mattress where the butt would be.
Mm.
Every cell we went into. And I was like, after like she hit on the first cell, I told the guy. She hit on the second cell, I go, hold on a minute. Don't write that one down yet. Let me do hit. And I was like, yeah, we're out, man. We're leaving. And then I started to notice that was the thing, man, that smell was too much. He couldn't handle it. If you brought in do you ever get smaller outside agencies go, man, our dogs are getting 16,000 hits on her in these jails?
Again, a lot of us, a lot of our searches are done in-house. If we have maybe a USPCA training day, outside agencies will come to us, and they enjoy it because like you said, it's different to them. Again, they're not doing live searches with inmates in there. They'll be in that replicated, training area. But you're 100% right, man. There's so much odor, food odor, residue, residual odor from tobacco or weed. And again, if the windows are open, there's even more air moving around from side to side. The cold wall, hot wall. It's wild. It's the amount of air movement or dull air in there is mind blowing.
It's probably something you have trouble shaking from your nostrils. Like you get it out for your 2 days off and then right back to it.
Yeah, you can get that one cell and you're just like, all right, man, like I'm in and out. Like, time to go.
Who lives here, man?
Right.
That's crazy. So do you ever have a guy that came as a handler from a police agency that came to corrections and then eventually got a dog? Did you ever see that where they struggle?
Be honest with you, in my time in K9, I never had a police handler come to, Rikers Island and became a handler with us and have issues. Pretty much all our handlers pretty much are in-house. We're already correction officers or in a unit, within the correction department, and then came to K9's.
I'm sure it fluctuates, but how many dogs do you guys have?
Right now, I think we're at approximately 38 dogs. That includes, so we have an investigation division that also has K9's, so we count that under our TO as well, our total count. So,
how many trainers?
Right now, you have the two main trainers are myself and my buddy Rob, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 junior trainers. They just became trainers within the last couple of years, and myself and Rob are leaving soon, so that'll be just them 4, and then we have one patrol instructor.
So I want to ask you something because multiple of my guys that work in corrections, most of my guys also work in intel on the inside, right? So they're working on intelligence that they're getting from however they're getting it. It's kind of beside the point. But my guys catch a lot of corrections officers smuggling shit in for people, and they end up being inmates. I don't know how prevalent that is where you're at, but man, it is prevalent down here in the South.
I could just say it happens. I'll leave it at that. It happens. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. Either it's officers or civilian staff, because we have civilian staff, so it happens, unfortunately. Yeah. But our internal affairs and not internal, we call it the investigation division, and our department of investigations, they're on it. They're doing solid work, and they're killing it too with that. So they're on top of it. Their intel is pretty good.
I want you to tell me a story about a crazy ass find that I'll let you think about it for a second. I'll tell you one. We had one of my guys called me. He goes, I need to start searching all of the equipment bays also. Like, okay. He goes, yeah, the trustees, because they go out, the trustees are allowed, they use them for yard work. They go out and weed eat and mow and everything else. And this dude would mow, and he was always the one, he was like, I got to mow. I'm mowing. And what he would do is they had thrown, like the Ray Allen, shout out to Ray Allen, like little magnet boxes. Somebody would put a bunch of shit in there and throw it over the fence, and then they would mow, and he would turn the blade off, and the mower would pick the contraband up, and he would just drive it back, and then another inmate would come in like a day later and pick it up from under the mower, and they couldn't figure it out. And they ended up finding it with the dog, because he was out doing an article recovery. He was out practicing articles on the yard, and there was no inmates out. And the dog goes and hammers an alert on this, and he walks over and looks at it. He was like, what the fuck? And he left it there. They left it and watched it on camera, and they watched this dude pick it up with the mower, drive it back in, and then they searched his cell, didn't find anything. He acted like he didn't know what was going on. and they sat in for 2 days. It sat there, and then another inmate came in and picked it up, which I thought, I was like, man, you guys are,
Yeah, it's wild, man.
that's clever. I was like, all right, points.
Some some kind of mayor of Kingstown kind of stuff, man. Some wild shit, man. But yeah, you know, we do have workers that work on the outside as well, so they're pretty much searched upon completion of their detail. You know, inmates that go out to the hospital, I can't say they haven't tried to get, you know, they went out to the hospital trying to get contraband. Um, I've been part of a few takedowns and a hospital takedown when I was on the gang intelligence team. Shout out to my team because they were great. We did some, you know, amazing stuff out there. But yeah, I mean, inmates have nothing but time to think, and they want that contraband because it will make them some money if they do get their hands on that contraband. So
Now over here, the county jails, it's county jails and then prison. So the county jails are a year and less. Rikers though got guys there for a long time or no?
Rikers, we have a sentence housing area where it's a year or less, but a lot of guys they spend a little bit more time than a year or a couple years because they're awaiting trial or they're going through their trial process or their appeal process. So there are definitely guys, you know, we're a jail where the upstate New York State jails are prisons. So you come to Rikers Island first, you get sentenced, you get your time, and you go up to the upstate prisons.
All right, it's about the same, just exceedingly more people, and there's zero chance in the jail here where I'm at to find a celebrity
Yeah.
or somebody that people know, which can also cause its
Yeah.
own problems.
Yeah, well, I guess
Yeah.
Diddy's not where you're at though.
No.
He's in the federal prison in Manhattan.
yeah.
Good luck to him.
Yeah.
So
It's a
we're
baby,
gonna
oil,
go.
baby oil detection dog.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and take our second break. When we come back, we're gonna talk to Larry about some of his passions. And kind of where the dog world has actually taken him, and it's pretty interesting. I like to do this at the end of these segments with guys like we did with CJ, where his passion for dogs has taken him to stock dogs and things like that, and where
Chasing
we go
cows.
Yep, chasing cows, biting them in the face. So we'll be right back. Stick around, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. Please check out our friends Jason and Aaron Pergison at Highland Police K9. If you guys are interested in going to school, if you've come out of the military, you can use your GI Bill to go through their school. They have a pet training school, they have a police training school, they have online courses that you guys can take, such as their K9 supervisor course. You guys can really take that as far as you want with them. They are a veritable fountain of knowledge when it comes to K9. They're located in North Carolina. They're always accessible, always available, and we've had such a long relationship with them. I cannot say enough good about them. So please check them out. If you go to Tactical Police Canine Training, go to their online programs, check them out. Use the discount code NARC for 20% off any of their online courses. Guys, that will help you. It'll help you make headway in this industry. I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times when we're talking about dog kennels and their construction, like you don't know where to start. What do I do? What do I add? I need to weatherproof this, waterproof this, pee-proof this. If you guys have checked out Horizon Structures lately, it's unbelievable. They literally have everything that you could possibly need. They can build your kennel with as many holes as you want in it, and they can drive it out to you, set it on your pad, hook it up, and you can move dogs in it immediately, from mild to wild, from one kennel all the way up, from the tiniest of pet runs to the hardest of working dogs. If you can dream it, they can build it. Go ahead and check them out at horizonstructures.com. Go specifically to their working dog area. It's commercial-dog-kennels. Give them a call, 888-447-4337. And of course, check them out on their socials at Horizon Structures, and they will hook you guys up. We also want to send a huge shout out. He recently passed away. Rest in peace, Brother Deeg. Thank you for our music. Thank you for the permission to use it. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you're doing well on the other side. Thank you guys for listening.
All right, we're back. Working Dog Radio, broadcasting the bite. Eric Stambro, Ted Summers, with our good buddy Larry McCardle from over in New York, Department of Corrections. We've talked a lot of stuff. I can smell it, like, as we're talking. Like, I can, and I ain't been in the jail in a long time, dude. One of the things that I did as a trainer, it took me a few years to do, but I pulled us out of all jail sniffs and I pulled us out of all school sniffs, and it was. You want to talk about buying loyalty from your guys that are so sick and tired of doing those useless school sniffs. That was some of the best things we did. No more wasted training days. No more dog and pony show for admins that are trying to look good. Screw all that stuff. We quit all that crap. And then we quit the jail sniffs because of all the alerts and all the problems that it was causing. And then the jail then got their own dogs inside, which worked out better. So one of the things that you've really gotten into that we talk about and we see you is photography, helping train other parts of dogs. Guys come to you now. You know, as one of the main trainers there, you go around to seminars, you take stuff, but you have really taken off photography and making edits, as I think is the way they call them, videos for people to use on social media. And the stuff's really good. Had you always been into photography, or is this just where dogs took you?
Nah, this is kind of where dogs took me. I got to shout out my man Eric Larson. He's my mentor. Yeah. He is my mentor for photography. I could call that guy. That guy's up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
That guy got a private jet? Because that dude is everywhere.
He'll be. He's been to like 4 or 5 HRDs, and he just like shows up. I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like, where do you live? Like in your van or what?
Yeah, get a helicopter? What are we doing? Yeah.
Shout out to Eric, man. But you know, he took me. Listen, I'm not even close to where he is. You know, there's another kid up in Connecticut. I think his Instagram page is K9 content or something like that.
Yeah, yep.
He's another one that's putting out amazing video footage. I'm actually going to see him in a couple weeks. I'm going to be up in Connecticut with Jeremy Cormier. Sarah's going to be up there. They're doing a decoy seminar, so I'll be up there with those guys. I'm actually going to bring my daughter. I'm going to put her in a suit. So that's going to be cool. Yeah, she loves this stuff. I mean, she's following right in my footsteps. But back to the photography stuff. Yeah, Eric just got me into it. I like to videotape my guys as well, especially during class. I like to make a video montage for them at the end of class, but I also do it for training purposes as well, right? So Eric, yo, why'd you put the lead around your back? No, I never did that. Well, look, you did, right? So yeah. I use it for both reasons, you know, to make it for my students at the end of class, but also using it as a training tool. I use it as a training tool against myself. You guys see, I've really I've really been into decoying lately. You know, I love it. You know, I really I got a lot of my lessons through Nesbitt and Carlos Ramirez. They really taught me the real way to, build up a dog. It's not about the theatrical shit. It's all about, building up a dog, getting those grips. But, I'd like to videotape myself, especially like during ATK9, for instance. I put my camera up. We were doing passive muzzle searches. Michelle Lyman's dog came down. I moved the slightest bit faster than I should have, right? Michelle's like, shit, you moved. And I'm like, fuck, like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, so things like that, it helps me out. But I just like I like taking pictures. I mean, your seminars, I take pictures and I get them out to the guys. I don't do it for money. I don't do anything but passion, man. Dogs are my passion. Training's my passion. And I want people to feel happy knowing that I was at that seminar. Larry got a great picture of me, and he got it to me right away, and they appreciate that, and that's where I stand. I'm not in it for the money right now. I'm in it for the love of training, the love of capturing that moment, and that's one thing that Eric taught me, man. Just capture that moment and give it to the handlers and let them enjoy that moment.
Well, that's the thing, man. You're going to retire in a bit. That could be a gig. I mean, you're you're setting yourself maybe, to make some money in the future, or at least give yourself, something to keep doing. The funny thing about what you're doing, and a lot of guys that get into dog stuff, is the money racks up. That camera stuff is not cheap.
No, it does. It does rack up, and I'm blessed that I have a great job that pays well and takes care of me. Yeah, I am retiring soon. I know me and you and Aaron Taylor have talked about maybe considering doing a ridge side, or I just recently started helping out my brother-in-law with his pet dog, my neighbor with their pet dog, and I'm using a lot of e-collar, your methods with the e-collar, but we'll talk about that later on. But it's fun because it's fun watching what I was as a handler. I wanted that quick fix. Where now, me as a seasoned handler and instructor, I tell my brother-in-law, like, we can't fix this overnight. It's going to take time. But it's humorous to me to see that the pet dog the pet dog owners, they want that quick fix, and sometimes it just can't happen. So
Yeah, and you have a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, depending on what your little program is, and it'll definitely make you problem solve at a much faster pace than
right.
a dog that you have 3-4 months to do some training with. One of the things now that, because we'll talk about e-collar here, is you went from really not much experience at all with the e-collar to the point now where you can probably teach some people. Well, you have to. You're doing training now with some of your guys. You have to do it. What was the big change? What did you know about e-collar to where you're at now?
There was no like conflict on the compulsion. It wasn't. There's the yank and crank. That was the biggest thing, right? There's no yank and crank. There's the maintenance. With my guy, I'm so comfortable. I can really just work a maintenance level now. And I know there's a time and a place where you have to, what you like to say is the slap in the face, right? So, but usually the slap in the face only happens once, and then you could stay on that maintenance level. But the biggest thing for me is the conflict that was eliminated between me and my dog. Uh, it's, even like with my brother-in-law's dog right now, we use tone avoidance with his dog because he rescued this Labradoodle. He was a little bit sketchy. He was a little bit weird. He was very guarding once he got like my brother-in-law's shoe. So what we ended up doing is doing the tone avoidance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dog would go near the shoe. He would get a tone. If he not, he had a little stim to him, right? And now, after a couple of days, we recently went to it. He called me today, and after a couple of days, man, he said it's been a game changer. So he's been loving it.
Yeah, I find the tone avoidance, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can listen to this on this show. I was on Howard's show, Police K9 Radio. We talked about tone avoidance, but it's also in my book, and it's the thing that I'm traveling around the country teaching. It solves most problems that people have with their pet dogs, or the dog's an asshole. He guards the shoe, steals tissue, eats shoes, eats socks, steals food, does this, does that. You can't leave the room to even go to the bathroom. You understand you're going to come back in the socks going down his gullet.
Yeah.
And tone avoidance takes care of all that, all of it. Dogs that come back and redirect on the leash, that grab the leash and everything. I fix dogs with all that stuff with it. And the beautiful part of all that is that I just don't talk to them.
No.
All the work without talking is great.
I use that favorite line now. The more you talk, the more you confuse. The less you talk, the more you communicate. So shut the fuck up. So that's my favorite line now.
Yeah. That is Eric and I's number one pet peeve is when handlers talk to dogs like all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, how big his ears are? He heard you the first time.
Yeah. I mean, I've been really pushing that ever since I took that class. I noticed, you hear my handlers check, like, no, like just, your dog knows your search pattern. That's a big thing I push too, search patterns with my dog. So if your dog knows the search pattern, you should be able to just put your hand here. Yeah, he might act like a jerk once in a while. You say check up and then just keep moving. But, a lot of that time, too much talking to the dog. You're just wasting energy, man. You're really wasting energy.
So how long you been in USPCA?
Since 2017, I've been in the USPCA. I'm the region vice president now. Man, I got some solid guys in there, solid girls in there now. My buddy Frank from NYPD Transit. I got MTA, Allie from MTA, Kate. I don't know if you guys know K9's on Instagram, but K9's Kate. I just got a solid board, a whole, we have a really good board going on right now. I don't know if you guys know Wayne Rothschild from back in the day, but he's up there too. So we have a solid. Our region is pretty solid, man.
How many members in the region you think?
Shit, I don't even. I would have to say close to or over 300.
Ooh,
I'm taking it. I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
yeah.
That's an educated guess.
But that's a lot of certification setups and constantly keeping things
gotta
fresh
look.
and stuff.
My unit alone, again, is like 40. You know, Transit has probably another 40. Transit K9, NYPD, NYPD. You know, I'm probably exaggerating, probably a little over 200, but we have a good amount. I have to say our detection seminar, regionals are stacked. I mean, sometimes the explosives got to go 2 days. That's how
Oh
stacked
wow,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ted, we're down in Tulsa this year for the Nationals.
Yeah, I know. And Eric, of course, Eric Johnson, which is I've known Eric for quite a while. He's the national president now, currently. But yeah, it's when I was going to mention that when we stopped recording. I was like, when you're down here, if you're coming, like, let me
Yeah,
know.
I'll be there. Definitely,
It's
we get together,
literally
bro.
like 5 minutes from here, from where I'm
Yeah.
sitting right now. So yeah.
What time? When is that? I'm looking at my calendar right now.
I think I want to say I know our regionals are in March, so it'd probably be around June-ish.
Yeah,
I
I would
think.
say it's like, I'll look it up real quick.
I ain't going nowhere in the winter, so not up there.
Yeah.
It's hot as shit in Tulsa in that time.
That's
of year.
fine.
So
I like hot. I'm good.
Good,
Yeah.
because you don't have a choice.
I'll be honest. Valdosta was hot that week too. We were down there in the late September, but it was hot in Georgia, man.
Yeah,
It
thick
was.
too.
June 1st through
Yeah.
June 4th.
Yeah.
Oh, 1st through the 4th.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
and they have you staying at the Osage Casino Hotel. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's out. That's just north of. It's out north of the Kennel.
I might have to try to see if I can't come up for that.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, but our region is pretty solid. Again, man, I got as far as when it comes to training, besides my department, man, I mean, especially like the NYPD transit guys, and the Nassau County Sheriff guys and the PD guys, man. I mean, you met some of the Nassau PD guys.
Yeah.
Them, man, I got some, I'm really, my really good friend Frank and his guys at transit, man. We just love to train, man. I mean, you see me, I'm always out and about training.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
not about just my unit. It's what I can go out in the field, learn, and bring back to my unit.
And I'll be honest with you, what helps me too is guys like you pop over to one of my seminars. You can actually explain what I'm talking about to a guy because you've been through it 2 or 3 times. And I can like, hey, Frank, will you or Larry, will you show that guy? We show what I'm talking about because I'm going to work on this one. Every once in a while, things will get a little like that. So it's nice when you have a guy that's invested in it and been there and, and things like that. So what's over the next, when are you going to leave? 2 years, you said?
No, I leave next. I'm probably gonna leave December or January coming up
Oh,
next
shit.
year. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
nice. So what do
but,
you think the future holds for you?
man, again, maybe the pet dogs. One of my old bosses is he's a regional guy for the MSA. Maybe run a dog part time for MSA. Run some stadiums and sporting events. I don't know. Maybe go back to TSA and run a dog there.
Yeah.
I got to really start thinking about it now. It's just I've been so busy with training, I'm blessed that my family supports me in training. I'm blessed my daughter wants to even get involved and put a suit on. I mean, she sees Nesbitt's daughter and Mike Jones's daughter putting on suits, man. She's like, I want to do that. I'm like, all right, let's go.
So if you were going to retire and get out of New York to make your pension go, where are you going to go, you think?
I'd have to say Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big snowboarder, so I would love to go to Idaho, Wyoming, but it's starting to get expensive up there.
I've heard that, yeah, especially
Yeah.
Wyoming and Montana. I guess is getting real bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's because guys
Yeah.
get on the podcast on their big giant podcasts and talk about how amazing Montana is and places like that, and everybody's like,
Oh yeah, it got so expensive up there too. Like by Big Sky Mountain, where one year we rode there, it's decently cheap. 2 years later, it's just ridiculous. Like it just the prices of everything just went up.
During COVID, when everybody left LA and New York and Miami and Chicago and all the giant cities, and they all left for places like that, and it was like they're like, "Oh, I'm never moving back." That and everybody moved to Austin, which
yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm going to Austin. They just reached out today to do my e-collar seminar there.
Nice.
Last day of June into July, so that'd be pretty good.
for
I'm
city or
excited.
county, Travis or
City.
city, so APD.
Yeah.
They have a good unit.
Yeah. So we're I'm hoping hope we have a good time down there. So Larry, I really appreciate you coming on. This has been great. What about if anybody can get a hold of you? Maybe hey, I'd like to learn some stuff from this guy. Where can they get a hold of you?
Sure, man. You could reach out to me on my Instagram page. It's NYCK and the number 9 Zoe ZOEY and the AND Sims SIMMS on Instagram. You can reach me there. Shoot me a private message. Listen, man, especially the jail people, if I'd be more than happy to come out, help you out if I can. If I have my time if my time allows me to, my department allows me to, I'll come out and help out. Bring some of my trainers with me. And that's it, man. Like I said, reach out to me, anything.
I don't think they could do worse. I mean, you got a guy who's training. You got 38 dogs in there, and you're doing things that other people just don't have to do. The level of detention stuff that you have to deal with, a lot of people just aren't used to it. Guys maybe have a 300 bed jail that they're in. You could definitely help all those folks. Yeah, man. And I don't know. Are you going to hold the line this year?
Man, I got my schedule. I'll be in Connecticut in a couple of weeks, doing that decoy. Not doing decoy. I'm gonna, have my daughter hang out with Sarah Carver. She'll be up there and those guys. I'll be hold the line. I should be there. My brother-in-law actually let me use his house while he has a house over there. So I'll probably
nice.
I'll be there regardless. Again, I'll be at K9. My extended training partners like Gary from Worthless Handler.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Lyman, we get together, and when we get together, all we want to do is train. So
yeah,
regardless if it's classroom or hands-on. So I'll be at K9 again. I'll be out and about. I'll definitely be out and about. So
yeah, pay attention to it. Ted, what about you? What's going on? Where are you at?
Torchlight K9, letter K number 9 on like everything. Apparently our TikTok. I don't know. I've not run. One of my trainers is running it. But they're putting up. I give them all the stuff to post. But then Instagram's Torchlight K9, HRD Police K9, working _dog _radio, Ted _Summers if you want dog training and memes. So
oh boy,
there's some questionable content on that one. But and then in Facebook is the same thing. You can get a hold of me there, and then we're booking for HRDs for the second half of the year. So we're going to be in Boston, I think, in June or July.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, we're going.
If you need help decoying, just let me know, brother.
Probably it's Mass State Police. So
I'm only a 4-hour drive, so
it's a closed one. So and I wonder if like Chris and those dudes will be wanting to come up too. But that one should be fun. But outside of that, I'm going to do one less handler school this year because I've got to go to Bulgaria in April. For this project that we're working on.
Mm-hmm. It's called Fake Taxi Bulgaria.
Fake Taxi Bulgaria, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of that, I'm just training dogs to find drugs and bite people.
I like it. Also, we forgot again. If you're listening on YouTube, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, I forgot
about
that.
Like and subscribe on YouTube, please. Van SK9 on Instagram. If you're interested in my book, go to Amazon, look up my name, Eric Stambro. It'll pop up. I looked yesterday at 1,340 copies I've sold since October 28th. So I'm pretty good. Pretty happy about that. $15 is all it is, and it's a real easy read. Even for you guys that hate to read books, it's a manual.
Yeah,
it's like reading instructions to put together a desk. It's that short, guys. 60 pages, maybe. I don't even remember. So take a look at it. Larry, really appreciate you coming on, brother.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Guys, and again, like I talked about in the first segment, if you get in if you're his guy, like he'll support you all the way through, all the time. If you got something going on, boom, shit, Larry's here. What the hell? This is Ohio. What are you doing here? That type of thing. He likes to travel. He likes to train. Really likes to learn, likes to give help to people. But he definitely supports his friends really well, and
definitely, man.
To me, that's admirable. It's not. It's kind of a lost art, I think.
Yeah, I invest in yourselves, man. That's my favorite line, man. Invest in yourselves. I think I stole it from Michelle Lyman, but invest in yourselves, man, and close your food sliders.
That's Eric.
Yes, buddy. Yes, please. Thank you. Finally.
I'll pop my slider open once in a while to say hi to my dog, but he's not jumping on my shoulder looking for that food. I'll tell you that, boy.
Right. Some of these guys can get bit in the face, and it's going to be the best day ever. So, anyways, all right, guys. Thank you.
Damn it.
Stay warm if you're in the middle of that penis-shaped thing that keeps showing online. Oh, listen, hey, all the guys that listen to us out in LA, man, no joke.
Yeah.
Stay safe, man. Those are wild ass videos coming out of there, man. I can't imagine it. Fire and wind, man, is no joke. So
no joke, man.
And R.I.P. Mac. I'm a couple days early, but Macaulay, we loved you. You were great. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, guys.